All right, so welcome everyone. How you doing tonight? My name is Guy Royce, and well, welcome to my stream. I see I've got a chat message already from Norman. Yeah, I miss you all too. He said unconvincingly. Uh, uh, I mentioned this last week on stream too, but Norman runs an event called Canton Coders that you should go check out. And I try to participate in it when I can, which has been twice, unfortunately. I would sure like to do that more often. But it's kind of busy conference season. I spoke at a couple events this week and recorded some talks and stuff. So it's just been, excuse me, as I very professionally wipe my nose on stream here. And so it's just that busy time of year. It's hard to find the time, but I have not forgotten. And I am reading the Slack, even though I don't pipe up very often. So tonight we're doing. Well, you may have noticed one thing. My office looks different. I've built these shelves. They look kind of nice. I filled them full of D&D books. You see my terrain here. Some of my detritus is still on the floor. I got some tools and stuff I got to put away. But I have worked on my space a little bit to make it look a little nicer for camera. So I hope that's been a fun little update. No, it's not a green screen. This is just my office. So this helmet is in fact quite real. Well, it's plastic, but it's real as opposed to imaginary. So no green screens. It's just my room. But yeah, Norman, I'll gladly come in and give a talk sometime if you like. Ping me online, and we'll see if we can find a date that works. I've got 3 talks that I've been kind of circulating around. One on graph databases and one on the 2 big ones I've got that are doing well is one on Dungeons, Dragons, and graph databases, and the other one is probabilistic data structures. So those are the talks I'm doing that are popular. I got another talk on machine learning that I don't have done yet, but that's in the works. So if I get that done in time, I could do that as well. So, but anyhow, tonight we're not doing any of those things, although at some point we will. Tonight we're working on the Evercraft Kata, and where we left the Evercraft Kata last week was with failing tests, and I kind of did that on purpose because A, I figured all my tests up, and B, I'm like, if I leave these tests broken, when I come in and look at them in the morning, this is a work mode talking, right? If you leave a failing test at the end of your workday, you come in the next morning, that failing test will bring it all back. It'll remind you where you're at and what you were working on. And so it's a good prompt. And so leaving a failing test is not necessarily a terrible thing. Don't commit it like I did. Just leave it there. But it's a good prompt. And so I did that very much on purpose. But I knew it was going to be a week, and so I didn't want to just leave them hanging around. So I went ahead and committed it. Even though my main branch is now not passing. But it's because I was in the middle of refactoring these tests for armor class. And let me bring up my code so that you can see it here. Go there. There we go. Now we got code on screen. Hopefully that's big enough for everyone. Bring that down a little bit. And so I've got this armor class, and the challenge with armor class in crafting the test is that there's a lot of things that affect it. So you've got monks, who have their armor class increases with their wisdom and their dexterity. You've got orcs who have an extra +2 because they're thick-skinned. You've got rogues that negate the dex bonus to armor class, as well as the monks' bonus to their armor class for their wisdom, so the dex and the wisdom, but not the orcs' bonus because it's thick skin. And then all these permutations. There's a lot of permutations. You've got like, are they a monk? Is it versus a rogue? Are they an orc? Are they an orcish monk? Are they? Do they have a high dexterity? Do they have a high wisdom? So I need to test all these permutations, and coming up with a way to define that well is kind of a pain in the ass, right? Oh well. Thank you, Corey. Good to see you. What you making? Something good, I hope. It's like, if you say I'm just nuking a microwave dinner, I'm going to be sorely disappointed because I thought better of you than that. Right? Not sure yet. Okay. I remember when I was in college, my diet consisted mostly of canned ravioli, TV dinners, and Pop-Tarts. So that's pretty much what I ate. See what hey, open the fridge, see what you can make with what you got. I've made some of the best things that way. I've come up with sort of like a keto mac and cheese where I replace all the macaroni with veggies instead, and it's pretty tasty. Veggies and chicken. So anyhow, I need to sort these tests out. And so I came up with a way that I think sort of sorts this out a little bit. Does your fridge run Twitch? Yeah. Is your refrigerator running? Oh, you better go catch it. Ha ha ha. Yeah. But the way I've come to sort of sort this out is I'm thinking I want to do a statement based on who you are, based on the defender. And I'm going to group them by that. So like, this here is describing, so we have like an outer describes, which is normies, right? People that are just, they don't have any special thing about them that modifies their armor class. And then you can say if you're an orc, then this is what happens to your armor class. And then you can hit all the permutations for orc, and then including versus a rogue. And then for monk, you can do all the permutations that affect monk, and then you can do the orcish monk, and then do all the permutations that affect the orcish monk. So I think that's how I'm going to organize this. So I'm going to rename this describe as describe armor class for normies. And it defaults to 10. Dex makes it go up. Dex makes it go down. And we'll say, we'll describe I want to take those 3 tests that are about orcs and pull them down a little bit here. Pull them down here. So I'm going to reuse code. How many unit tests does a fridge need, right? Yeah. Okay, so that's not an orc. Okay. So we got attacker class, defender, race, defender class. There we go. Dex, wisdom, expected armor class. So this is for orcs. Defaults to 12, actually. But it wouldn't be at defaults 10. I think it adds to default, adds +2 to defaults. As many micro tests as you think it needs, then remove about 20%. And so we got we need to make a defender race here to be orc. Yeah. That actually means I could probably say let orc equal that defaults, comma, defender race orc. There. So now we'll have an orc here, and then I can just say say orcs. I kind of like that. And then I don't have to specify it. Okay, so adds +2 to defaults. Which means the expected AC is 12. And I think up here, I'm just going to say AC is 10. And I'm going to get rid of the default expected AC here because we should always specify what we're expecting. I think that's cleaner. Okay. Includes dexterity modifier when orc is zippy, when orc is sluggish. So if you've got a fast orc or a slow orc, modify accordingly. So that'd be a 14 would be +2, so that would take us up to a 14. 6 would be a -2, so that would take us back down to a 10. And now we've got normies and orcs. Sounds like a game, right? And the latest D&D craze is normies and orcs. And then we'll do for monks, same basic idea for monks. And instead of defining orc, we'll define a monk, and we'll give it the defender. Class will be monk. Monk. And we'll say defaults to 10, just like regular old humans, because that's what they are. Get that over there and give that a 10. And then includes extra modifiers when monk is zippy and when monk is sluggish. And so this would be a 12, and this would be an 8, just like regular humans. Just like normies. And then when they're wise, so we got this scenario here. So, and when they're foolish, it says include wisdom modifier when monk is wise. Monk. And then their wisdom is 14. And so that would make it a, yep, that's correct. And then don't include, it doesn't include wisdom modifier when monk is foolish. Make that a monk there. Don't need to specify the class. Give them wisdom. So their armor class doesn't go down for being foolish, but it does go up if they're wise. Fool and his monk. Okay, let's bring these in here a little bit. And I should still be at 3 failures here. I am. So good, good. I haven't made anything worse yet. We're right? It's like Wayne's World, right? It's going to be fine, guys, right? But I need the combination of Dex and armor class. Oh, Poshkanos, thanks very much for the follow. So let's do when they're zippy and sluggish and I've been on a Mac all day. I'm doing the thing again. Includes dexterity modifier. Okay, let's make this Dex. I'm tired of typing these long words. I usually don't abbreviate, but I think we can make an exception here. When monk is zippy and wise. Watch guy format text. Sounds exciting, doesn't it? Okay, so they've got a Dex here and a Wisdom of 14 as well. So they're both a boost, so that should give us a 14 armor class because a +2 for wisdom, +2 for dex. That should give us a 14. And this includes dex modifier only when monk is zippy, is sluggish, is zippy and foolish. So if they're 14, wisdom of 6, that should give me a 12. Am I still at 3 failures? I know my other failures are down here. I've got a bad test somewhere. So we got a wise old monk, a zippy monk, a sluggish monk. Oh, hang on. All right, so now we've got, okay, this is wisdom only, this is dex only, this is wisdom and dex with dex being high. And now we need to do wisdom and dex with dex being low. Sluggish, and foolish. Let's do this. Oops. There we go. Now I'm getting smart. So we'll make them slow here. And so here we should have an 8 because 6 dexterity give you -2. 10 minus 2 is 8. The net wisdom penalty doesn't apply. Here the wisdom penalty, the wisdom bonus would apply, but the dex penalty would still apply. So this would be a wash at 10. Let's see if these pass. Still passing, except for the 3 that are failing. I should probably find those and comment them out or delete them. I don't need foolish, sippy, sluggish. There we go. Let's find out which tests are failing. When attacker is a rogue and the defender is a sluggish orc. Comment that out. When attacker is a rogue and defender is a zippy orc. Yeah, you're kind of getting to watch the sausage being made here, because I'm cleaning up messy tests. Okay, so those are passing, and I don't know that this should necessarily stand up as a good practice. I mean, cleaning up messy tests is a good practice, but how did I get here, right? Well, it's one of those things. It's coming up with the abstraction around your tests themselves can sometimes be a challenge, right? So we got for normies, for orcs, for monks, and then we need to do for orcish monks. So this will be an orc monk. We'll call it orcish monk, and we'll give him a defender race of orc. See, I wouldn't have gotten into this mess if I had been pairing with Corey, right? I know you're making dinner. You can't respond. It's fine. Okay, so these are failing. They should be failing. And this is going to be adds +2 to default. And so that should be a 12. When zippy, when sluggish, So that should be a 14. This should be a 10. Let's say when wise. So the wisdom modifier adds another +2, so that'd be a 14. And then doesn't include when foolish. That'll still be a 12. There's +2, so base armor class of 10. +2 for the orc, so that's a 12. Wisdom penalty doesn't affect the monk. That's what's going on here. If you got when zippy and wise, let's just do this. There we go. Includes dex and wisdom modifiers on zippy and wise, so this should be a 16. It should be a 14. This should be a 2. This should be a 10. How is it that this keeps getting worse instead of better? Says it's a monk. Says it's an orc. Orcish monk has, yeah, okay. Okay, so an orcish monk's 10 +2. Orcish monk plus dex. That's +2. That's -2. That should be a +4. That's a -2. Yeah, okay, that's right. This is +2, +2, +2, +2, and +2. Yeah, okay. This is a -2, a +2, and then the thick skin. This is a -2. That's ignored. And so these are the right numbers. What am I doing wrong here? I think my implementation might just be wrong. maybe that's why the tests were failing. So the next thing I got to add to the test suite is orcs, is the rogue stuff. So let's take a look at armor class and see if maybe we can say yeah. So this monk or an orc. Okay, so yeah, my test actually doesn't handle this scenario. That's failing for a good reason. I just want, once this gets out on YouTube and everyone's watching this, all 12 people are watching this. Just know that what I'm doing here is actually, I am really hacking this up tonight. But sometimes you find yourself in these corners where things are all hacked up, and you gotta get through it, right? I mean, what at this point, there's the only way. It's like Churchill said, right? If you find yourself going through hell, keep going. That's what we're doing. So, I'm going to comment out the rogue for now. And then I'm going to say, let's do this. Let's say let's AC equal base AC. And then say if this class is a monk, AC plus equals. I feel like I'm just serving as a bad example. Yeah, that's purposeful, though, I suppose, isn't it? If they're a monk, add the positive wisdom modifier. And I will say AC plus equals the dex. And then if you're monk, add the positive wisdom modifier. And if you're an orc, add add 2, and then we return AC. one more passed. A lot of them failed because they took the rogue stuff out, so that makes sense. But all my orky stuff should be passing now. Okay. Let's say if attacker.class equals rogue, we've got a rule here. Ah! I really just need to use a Mac or a Windows machine, one or the other, and be done with it. Okay, so if the attack is a rogue, and then AC minus equals this dot dexterity modifier, but only if it's negative. So if this dot dexterity modifier is less than 0, is greater than 0, then do this. Okay, we're getting in the right direction. And then if they are if this dot class is an orc, no, is a monk, AC minus equals this dot positive wisdom modifier. Okay, we're down to 3 failed. This is the behavior I actually want, right? I'm going to put these up top here. Add all the things in, then subtract stuff out. Yeah, so if the dexterity modifier is greater than 0, then subtract it out. And if the class is a monk, then subtract out the positive wisdom modifier that we added in earlier. It's a little bit of a gnarly bit of logic here. And I'm down to 3 failing tests. And we got the 4 monks isn't doing what we want now. So 4 monks include dex and wisdom modifiers when sluggish and wise. I'm actually surprised that one's failing. That's not what I would expect. 4 monks. Oh. 4 orcish monks. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong test. For orcish monks, include dex and wisdom modifiers when sluggish and wise. So the wisdom modifier would be included. That's a +2. Saying it's an 11. That is not what I would expect, because the armor class starts out at 10. We had +2 for them being wise. We had +2 for being an orc. And then we subtract 2. Dinner. What did you end up making, Corey? Dinner. You end up making dinner. Good call. Good call. Oh, you put a link to a picture and Nightbot it won't let you see it. I need to. You know what? Hang on. I'm tired of Nightbot doing this. I can't click on it. Let's see if maybe I can do it here. No, it just replaced it with 4 up arrows. Or 4 carrots that made it look like you were pointing upwards. Well, hang on. I'm going to change the settings on Nightbot here real quick, because I am tired of it doing this. I'm going to do this over in my side panel here, so y'all don't see me. Actually, is there anything on Nightbot that matters that if you see it? Login. There we go. Yeah, I don't think it matters. Hey, look, there's Nightbot. Go to, I guess, spam protection. Options. I guess I could put you in the regular group. We'll just set this to everyone. I don't have enough people to really make this a problem. There we go. And we'll set this to everyone. And then I'll ratchet these down when they become a problem. There we go. We'll see how long. Let's try this again. Okay. It might take it a moment to figure out that the rules have changed. Let's see if Nightbot will do. Okay, yeah. Nightbot does what I want. Maybe I have to. I don't know. I'll figure it out later. I got a different problem to figure out, which is why does my code suck? And by suck, I mean why do my tests fail? So for an Orcish monk with Dex and Wisdom, it's sluggish and wise. I think that should be a 12. And for whatever reason, this thinks it should be an 11. Sounds good, Corey. I had braised beef and broccoli. It was pretty good. For lunch, for lunch I got Grubhub. I got a big plate of chicken wings. Keto is the best diet in the world. Okay, are all three of these failures for Orcish monks? Yes, they are. So here we got for Orcish monks, include wisdom modifier when wise. And saying that's a 13 when it should be a 14. I have probably done something stupid in here. That's is minus equal not do what I think it does or something? No, this branch of code doesn't even get executed here, so it doesn't matter. I mean, it does, but not for the orcs. It's interesting that the number is odd, right? So because everything I've been doing, all the tests I've been doing, is in multiples of 2. And for whatever reason, these aren't. So that's just really weird. Like, I shouldn't be getting odd numbers at all. It makes me question, like, does minus equal do what I think and things like that, right? Okay, let's narrow this down a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and just get rid of all these tests down here. And narrow my scope a little bit so I can focus. And so it is there's wisdom there, there's wisdom there. So for Orcish monks includes wisdom modifier when wise. So that one's failing. for Orcish monks includes dex and wisdom modifiers when zippy and wise. And includes dex and wisdom modifiers when sluggish and wise. So my wisdom is the common factor here. I've got elevated wisdom, and in all those scenarios, it gives me odd numbers. Okay, that's a clue. A clue. Let's take that out. Oh, they're all going to pass because I commented out the tests that were failing. Okay. Okay, so that's not impacting it. Let's just take out the monk rule entirely and see if it's off by the amount we expect it to be. Yeah, now it is. Expected 12 got 10. So this plus equals is perhaps not. I don't know. Is AC got some other value? No. Let's let AC equals 10. And then we increment it. Wow, this is really weird. What's going to happen is when I finally find this error, I'm going to smack myself upside the head and say I'm an idiot, right? That's what's going to happen. That's what always happens in these cases. Let's try something. Let's do console.log positive is positive wisdom modifier. Well, let's resort to the logging. And let's go find one of our failing tests. Can I do that? Can I do that with Jest? I think I can. Yes, I can. Now, shouldn't be 1. It is. It's 1 right there. It's coming back as 1. So, okay. I changed how modifiers worked last. Yep, there's the problem. So wisdom does not have a modifier property now. Instead, the hero has a wisdom modifier. Is that true? No, I didn't do that. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the hero. I wonder if we're getting some weird JavaScript thing where it's coercing like undefined into a number and doing some screwy shit like that or something. Like you're handing an object and it says, well, the object is truthy, and because it's truthy, that's true, and because it's true, that's a 1 or some JavaScript thing like that. an idiot. I'm an idiot. I am an utter and total idiot. One of the traits of an orc is that their wisdom modifier goes down by -1. So their wisdom modifier is 1, not 2, when you have an orcish monk. So my tests are wrong. Right? So they got the thick hide, which gives them the +2 to their armor class, and then they're wise, but they're wise enough to give them a +1 as an orc, as opposed to a +2. Because they would normally get a +2, drops down to a +1. So this test is correct, and I am an idiot. Okay, so orc, and when they're wise, so that means that should be a 13, and that should be a 15, and that should be an 11. Okay. My tests were telling me something, and I forgot the requirements. I feel like I almost need to put that, make a note of that in the test. Because someone would come around later and look at this and say, why is this a 15? So because they're an orc, it'd be wisdom modifier -1. So it includes dex modifier and wisdom modifier -1 when zippy and wise. There we go. Ah, wrong key. There we go. There we go. Ah. Okay. Now, the rogue. So we've got our normies, our monks, and our orcish monks, and our orcs, right? Yes. So now we need to do them versus rogues. And so that's what all these tests down here are. And incidentally, that's why these tests were failing as well. Or some of them were anyhow. Oh, it looks like that scenario just wasn't being covered. So, well, cool. So now all the tests pass. That's good. Now I just want to take these tests and put them up in the right place. So we got I keep hitting Command right arrow, which does a very different thing on Windows than it does on a Mac. When attacker's rogue and the hero is zippy, when the attacker rogue and the hero is sluggish. These go up for the normies. This is normies versus rogues. When attacker is rogue and the hero is zippy. So do not include dex when attacker is a rogue and hero is zippy. Dex Let's just get rid of the word modifier altogether. And do include, or include dex when attacker is rogue and the hero is sluggish. Does not. Okay. Default is 10. It includes dex when hero is zippy. It includes dex when hero is sluggish. It doesn't include dex when attacker is a rogue and the hero is zippy. It includes dex when attacker is a rogue and the hero is sluggish. Okay. Get those over there. And then we have attacker class rogue. Yeah, that's exactly what we need to say. And then down here for orcs, it includes dex. Just going to shorten that a little bit. When orc is zippy, when orc is sluggish. It doesn't include dex when attacker is a rogue and the orc is zippy. Includes dex when zippy, includes dex when sluggish, doesn't include dex when zippy versus a rogue. That's a better wording. When sluggish versus a rogue. Slowly getting these things into something that I can kind of have self-respect about. There we go. Okay, so here we've got orc and orc. Attacker class is rogue. Dex is 14. That's negated. So armor class is still a 12 because the thick armor is included. Here, this is an orc. This one should fail. It does. I'm guessing it should be a 10, yeah. Because the dexterity penalty still applies, but the thick hide is still there, so those cancel out. And the dexterity, and then the rogue has no advantage. Okay. And I just completed these. When the attacker is rogue and the defender is a zippy orc and a sluggish orc. We got a when attacker is a rogue and the defender orc +2 is still added. That feels like another scenario here. It includes +2 bonus versus a rogue, which we're already testing in the other ones, but I want to call it out explicitly. So here they don't have any special dexterity or anything, but it's still a 12. Okay. Okay, so that's rogues versus orcs. We've got rogues versus normies. Phew. Time to do rogues versus monks. So those are these scenarios right here. And there's all the permutations, right? get rid of modifier here. When okay, defaults 10, includes dex when zippy, includes dex when sluggish, includes wisdom when wise, doesn't include wisdom when foolish, includes dex and wisdom when zippy and wise, includes dex only when zippy and foolish, includes dex and wisdom when sluggish and wise, includes dex only when monk when sluggish and wise. Just making my tests have more better names. Like, I thought he was going to code tonight. Well, you know, sometimes you got to pay the price for these things. I need to be able to see it to make sure it's covering all the permutations, right? I need to be able to see that it's actually doing all the things. So, okay, so now it's let's see, we need to do this versus rogue. So that would be, what would that be? Let's see here. So include. So I think it's all of these versus a rogue. I think I need all of those permutations. Doesn't include dex. When zippy versus a rogue. This would be the attacker class is Rouge. Here it includes, these are all includes. Includes dex when sluggish versus a rogue, just like everyone else. Let's grab this little bit there. There we go. There we go. So this would be a 10 because the monk, the rogue negates the monk's AC bonus. Includes dex when sluggish versus rogue. That's correct. Includes wisdom. Doesn't include wisdom. When wise versus a rogue. So that would be a 10 as well. Numbers are going down, not up. That's good. Doesn't include wisdom when foolish versus a rogue. It feels a little redundant. Gotta line them all up. Gotta line them all up. Doesn't include dex nor wisdom. When zippy and wise. Missed a when up there. Versus a rogue. So this means that's still a 10. Ouch. includes dex only when zippy and foolish. So this is doesn't include dex when zippy and foolish versus a rogue. A lot of math here coming up to 10, isn't it? Doesn't include dex and wisdom when sluggish and wise versus a rogue. And then includes dex when sluggish and foolish versus a rogue. Okay, that one should, which one's failing? Doesn't include dex and wisdom when sluggish and wise versus a rogue. Dex, okay, so dex penalty, yeah, so this should be an 8. There we go. Go ahead and line these all up so that my alleged OCD, which I really don't have because people who say they have it don't actually have it because it's actually a disorder and it doesn't affect my life, so I don't actually have it. But, you know, trying to make that look nice and neat and tidy. All those tests pass. And now we have the scenario of the Orcish monk, which is going to be pretty much the same pattern here, except with +2s and wisdom being not as much. So, see if I got dex 1, dex. I'm trying to get rid of the word modifier because I'm trying to shorten these. These sentences down a little bit. Include dex when zippy, include wisdom -1 when wise. Include wisdom -1 when zippy and wise. Include wisdom -1 when sluggish and wise. Include dex only when sluggish and foolish. Okay. So I think we have, in essence, these for an orc down here. Doesn't include dex when zippy versus a rogue, but it still has the +2. Includes dex when sluggish versus a rogue, but it still has the +2. No, this needs to be. There we go. 6 failures. That's fine. It doesn't include wisdom. Three, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't include wisdom when wise versus a rogue. It'd still be a 12 because they get the thick skin. I think these all just go up by 2. No, they don't. Okay, so wise, not included. And foolish. Did I miss that up there? I did. Includes dex when sluggish and foolish versus a rogue. So this should be a 10. It is doesn't include dex and wisdom when sluggish and wise versus a rogue. So a wise minus, it'd be wisdom -1, but okay, so and these would cancel out to be 10. No. 9. No. So -2 for dex. That'd be 10. -2 is 8. +1 for wisdom would take it up to a 9. The rogue would negate that. I think that would just be a 9. For Orcish Monk, doesn't include dex and wisdom -1 when sluggish. Saying that's a expected 9, that should be a 10. Well, that makes sense because the wisdom would be negated and the dexterity penalty would be offset by the, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because the wisdom is negated by the rogue, even though it's a bonus. The dex penalty is -2, but the thick armor gives it +2. Okay. Let's look at the next one here. Dexterity bonus is negated, so that'd be a 10. Wisdom penalty is ignored to be a 10. Thick hide makes that a 12. And then this one right here, the dex bonus and the wisdom bonus are both negated, but the thick hide isn't, so that is again a 12. There we go. What an MCF. I'm not going to say what that stands for in stream. There we go. Hold that back there. Actually, no. I did it to the rest of them. I might as well do it to the right. Okay. There we go. And then this goes away. Not that. Someone tweeted the other day that if you use a mouse when you're writing software, you're not a real developer. As it turns out, I came into this thinking as a real developer, and I used a mouse, and I wrote a bunch of crappy code, so maybe I'm not a real developer. Maybe I'm just a hack. A soothing voice. I don't know about that. Come for the JavaScript, stay for the ASMR, right? Okay, so I think this is all the permutations. So I'm going to commit that because I just spent an hour making this be the thing that I want it to be. So let's git status, git add dot git commit -m armor class tests and code hits all permutations for orc, monk, dex, etc. Git push. There we go. Now, one thing I'm kind of wondering is, why is Orcish spelled okay here, but it's not okay here? Like, why is it complaining one spot but not the other? We're going to quick fix, add Orcish to user dictionary, because I think it's likely that I'll spell that word again. And quick fix, add normies to user dictionary. There we go. Okay, so let's go look at the requirements and see what we can add next. Let's actually add some functionality. We did actually, in fairness, add some functionality because the armor class method here wasn't quite handling all the scenarios, and now it does. So that's a good thing. I'm going to do a super small refactor here. I'm going to say get wisdom modifier. And then just have it be a little one-liner that returns this. I'm just doing this for consistency's sake. There's our positive wisdom modifier. There's our negative dexterity modifier. We don't need the next negative dexterity modifier. Yeah, we do. No, we don't. Yeah, we don't do that anymore. So that can go away. So now my reason for making that consistent is gone, but oh well. Put that up there. We should probably have our tests running. I'm not going to get them to run by typing into the text editor. Come on, Jest, do your thing. 228 pests tasked. 228 tests passed. Excellent. Okay, let's look at the next requirement. So we're playing. So orcs. Orcs are done. We have the strength modifier and the intelligence, wisdom, and charisma modifiers. Those happen already. We added the +2 to their armor class due to their thick hide. So that's there. It's time to play, do a different race. We got orcs and humans right now. Let's do the dwarfs. He said beardedly. So dwarfs have a +1 to their constitution modifier and a -1 to their charisma. They double their constitution modifier when adding to hit points per level, if positive. And they get a +2 bonus to attack and damage when attacking orcs. Well, this sounds fun. Let's look at the +1 to constitution modifier, -1 to charisma modifier first, because that's super easy to do. Because I did all the plumbing for that last stream. So, did I miss a commit? Looks like I did. Get status. Get add dot. White minor refactor in armor class. There we go. Don't really need to push that just yet. So we need to look at hero abilities. Where are they here? Hero ability spec. So describe when it's an orc. And then we see our modifiers. So there's strength, intelligence, wisdom, charisma. Technically, we should probably add dexterity and yeah, let's do that. For the orc, it leaves, it doesn't modify strength, dexterity modifier. STR. Adds +2 to its strength modifier. Adds +2 to strength modifier when strong, when weak. Doesn't modify dexterity modifier. So this would be dexterity. And that should be stay 0. Doesn't modify dexterity when zippy, and when sluggish. So we give it a score of 14. This should still be a +2. We give it a score of 6. This should still be a -2. Just a fancy way of saying orcs don't change their decks. Get that all tidy and neat. I don't know why this one's duplicated. Oh, yeah, I do. Ignore me. Con modifier when hail. When sickly. Hail's a great word. This would be constitution. So that stays the same. So strength is up there. Ah, I keep hitting Control D. Let's get rid of those. There we go. We're getting it there. So there's strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, and cha. There we go. I can pull these all back a little bit now, actually. There we go. Excellent. Okay. And now we can do dwarf. Actually, we should probably do human. We don't have human in here. Now, human's easy. It's going to be 0, +2, -2. It's all going to be doesn't modify. And then that. Zero, +2, -2, 0, +2, -2, 0, +2, and -2. And that's not a -0. I hear that's a special thing sometimes, but it's not going to be a special thing in my world. This is my D&D game. We're not having -0s. I don't care what my buddy Pat says. -0s, not a thing. Okay. So now we've got the Dwiff. +1 the con, -1 the charisma. Let's base them off the org. What the heck? Okay, I'm going to do one other refactor of my tests here. I'm going to say let defaults equal score 10 modifier 0. Let human equal defaults comma race human. And then down here, human. That's true, CTI Geek. That's very true. Truer words have not been uttered. It's not. It is more than truthy. It is true. Is it possible though that it's falsy? We'll go down here and do the same thing for orc. Dink, 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 dink. Okay. Is everything passing? I should probably like be looking at my tests and stuff, you know? 252 pass tests. That's a very, very good sign. Now we're going to clone and modify Das Orkin. I think that can just go up like that. As can that. And we'll do a dwarf. And then this gets the dwarven treatment. The dwarves shall obliterate the orcs. Right? That's how that goes, right? So it doesn't modify strength. Keep hitting the wrong key. I keep hitting the wrong key. There we go. Let's be 0 plus 2 minus 2. Saying dwarf is not a race. That is a problem. I'm going to pend these because that is just told me that I need to write another test. You need to write another test. I think you're right, Pomprox, actually. I don't always write tests. I mean, I always write tests, but I'm not always just writing tests. I actually do write code as well. But I've hit this threshold where I need to rearrange my tests to be able to cover the permutations. And that's been a little hairy. So we'll go to hero race. Cannot be an invalid race. So we need to add dwarf. It can be a dwarf. This will fail. So Pomprox, I'm going to write some actual code after this one. Not just tests. I mean, they're all code, but you know what I mean. I'm going to write some production code as opposed to some tests in the hero race here. And that would be in the validator here. There we go. Swarf. Dwarf. There we go. Hey, look, I wrote some code. Well, see, what we need is a testing framework to validate our testing framework. Yeah, that's right. Yo, dog, I heard you like testing. Let's go. So dwarves are now a thing. In fact, I'm feeling a bit saucy. I think I'm going to go ahead and put elf and halfling in there as well as things that you can be. so that I don't forget to do it later. We'll add elf. Halfling. Okay, those both fail. We go to the validator here. Elf and halfling. Apparently halfling is not a word, but it is now. Cool. So we added to the list of valid races. Now let's go back to the ability spec and make dwarves correct. So here it adds +1 to con modifier. Those will fail. Once I put the right numbers in there, they'll fail. Why didn't that fail? Oh, because I appended dwarf. There we go. Saying 18 failed. What do you mean 18 failed? I mean, I know that these ones are incorrect at the moment. Well, that one's not, actually, as it happens. It says 12 failed. So the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It says all of these have failed. What's it complaining? What's it saying the error? The error is. Cannot read property cha of undefined. Ah, I know it. Okay, so I know what that is too. That is in ability because it's looking up the modifiers for dwarves and they're not here. That should change my error. If I include a syntactically correct code, that should change my error. There we go. That's a better number of failures. So we got 6 failures, which I would expect, right? We're saying it adds 1 to the con, it subtracts 1 from here. Those 6 are failing. And if we go into ability here, we could do that pretty easily. We say con +1 and cha -1. Now they should all pass. And they do. I need to go ahead and get these tests written, though. Those will fail. I should have 6 failures now. But I really wanted to not modify those. Dwarves aren't any smarter or wiser than anyone else. So this would be 0 +2 -2, 0 +2 -2. There we go. Dwarves now have the appropriate ability scores. Cool. I'm going to commit that. Dwarves, swarves have correct abilities, elves and halflings and dwarves can exist. Git push. There we go. Cool. Okay, so what else is true of dwarves? They've doubled their constitution modifier when adding to hit points per level if positive. I have a feeling this is going to turn into another massive testing refactor thing. So if we go into hit points, hit point spec, we've got defaults to 5. Yeah, these are messy too, and I want to refactor them, but I don't think they're so messy. Are they? Because I need to make sure that if it's a fighter, and if it's... Oh, no, actually, I probably don't need to do that. I was thinking I got to make sure if it's a fighter and a dwarf, then it's 10 plus 2 per level. And then I need to do that for monks as well. But I don't know that I necessarily need to. Maybe I do. I think I'm probably in the same situation here where I've got a lot of permutations and I want to test them. Let's look at the hit points class itself and see what that looks like. This is pretty easy. Maximum hit points is just hit points per level, which is gotten by looking at this little constant up here. We add the constitution modifier, and then it's either that or 1, depending. And so to make, I know the code I need to write to make dwarf happen. I just need to add an if they're a dwarf, add +2, or double the constitution modifier. Otherwise, use the single version of it. And if it's negative, so I got to do that in if negative check and then all that stuff. That's not complicated code. So let's pick. Let's go for the none class. Actually, let's look at our little make level, make class. Yeah, this test does need sort of rearranged a little bit. Let's see what else we got. +2 bonus to attack damage when attacking orcs. Dwarves hate orcs. This may turn into another one of those MCF test refactors. Here's my attack modifier for classless, for fighters, for rogues, for monks, for paladins. And this is paladin versus good. Or paladin versus evil and versus good. And either one of these are going to be easy to write tests around. Well, what do you guys think? What do you think I should tackle? Should I do the constitution modifier or the attack damage? I should probably do them in order. That probably makes the most sense. Yeah, let's do them in order. So here we've got hit points for fighters, for monks, for paladins, for classless. I didn't actually do one for rogue because it didn't change. It was the same as classless, I guess. Break out of the system. Well, my temptation is to take the low-hanging fruit and do the rest of the ability modifiers for the different races, and then call it a stream, and then do the other things next time. Yeah, that's right. Can't trust this. Yeah, let's do the rest of the ability scores, because then they'll just be done. I don't have to think about them anymore. So we got orcs, humans, orcs, dwarves, and then let's see what do elves have? +1 to Dex modifier, -2 to Con. And then +1 to Dex, -1 to Strength. So Dex and Con. Dex bonus, Con penalty for elves. We'll just keep cloning the humans. I love it when you talk about when you're anthropomorphizing your code, you say some of the weirdest things, don't you? Clone all humans. When and human. When and dwarf. When a human. When an orc. When a dwarf. When an elf. There we go. Elf. Does modifier strength. Adds +1 to Dex. Modifier. There we go. It needs to be elf. Elf. So that would be +1, +3, -1. Should have, yeah, several failures here. And we're getting that same. Let's close some of these windows here. Elf is not defined here, so okay, now we're seeing the real failures. Does it modify Con? Intelligence? It does modify Con, right? Elves have a penalty to Con. Okay, so adds -1 to Con modifier. -1, +1, -3. Now we should have 6 failing tests. We do. Go into here. Add the exceptions for elf. So that would be Dex +1, Wisdom -1. Or no, Con -1. Put that on there too. Okay. That's elf ability scores. Let's do halflings next. We will again clone the humans. Clone all the human abilities. Incorporate them into the halflings to make a superior species. That sounds like an awful plan. When a halfling. Make them a halfling. That's a halfling. Word has lost all meaning. There we go. So right now we'll have 18 failing tests because we don't have halfling in the list yet, but we can add them. Now they'll all pass, which is not true either, because we need to go through, and halflings have a penalty to strength and a bonus to dex. So adds -1 to strength modifier. So it'd be -1. This would be +1. That'd be a -3. And then we can go in here and say strength -1. That passes. And then we'll we'll increase their dexterity. So it adds +1 to dexterity modifier. Wrong key again. So +1 here, +3 there, -1 there. There we go. Those will fail. Feel like I'm in a little bit more of a TDD process here. And the dex is +1. Now that should pass. And yes, it does. Excellent. So we've got got all the ability modifiers for all the races. We still have to do these two features for all the special features for the dwarf, the special features for the elf, and then and the special features for the halfling. I'm going to go for the cannot have evil alignment next. I'm just going to like break all the rules and do this in whatever order I feel like. Don't tell me how to live my life, right? So we're going to do the cannot have an evil alignment because I know I've got plumbing for that as well. I'm kind of picking out some low-hanging fruit here is what I'm really doing. Let's commit this first. Git add dot git commit -m added all modifiers to abilities for rest of races. Because this basically turns into there's an alignment spec and a race spec. And there's a class spec. And so in the class, that's the class, not the spec. All three of these, so if we go to the hero class spec, it'd be hero alignment spec. There we go. So if you go to the race spec, you know, it validates that you can only be valid races. And the way it does that is it looks at the hero race and it defaults to human. And then we call the validate race, class, and alignment. We pass in the race, we pass in the class, we pass in the alignment. And then if that doesn't throw an exception, then we set the race. And then if we look at the hero class, it does exactly the same thing. The only difference is that the value here is these are the existing values, and this is the one being passed in. And then we do the same thing for alignment as well, where we're checking alignment. So all we need to do is modify this one class to say, hey, halflings can't be have to be non-evil. I think that's what the requirement is. Yeah, they can't be evil. And throw out an exception. However, we actually need to test for it in 3 places. Because for the race, well, in 2 places. The alignment and the race. So like here, I've got when a hero is good, it can be these classes. When a hero is neutral, it can be these classes. And when a hero is evil, it can be these classes. And this is what it can't be. So we need something similar to that for race. Then also for alignment too. When a hero is a rogue, it can be these things. When a hero is a paladin. And here we can say when hero is a halfling. It cannot be evil. It can be neutral. It can be good, and it can be neutral. And we could say we just need that little bit of code there. The subject.alignment equals alignment. Expect subject.alignment to be alignment. Oops, I did that in the wrong spot. Down there, that's where we want it. Subject.alignment equals alignment. Subject.alignment should be set. So if you're halfling, you can be good or neutral, but you cannot be evil. It should throw an error saying halflings cannot be evil. There we go. Halflings apparently is also not a word in addition to halfling. There we go. Let's see what the tests are saying about this. One failed. Excellent. That's what we would expect. And here we can say if class is rogue and alignment is good. If race is halfling and alignment is evil, throw halflings cannot be evil. Okay, so no evil halflings. I've tested that in race here, or no. I've tested it here in alignment, but we actually need it in race too. Because we could have our alignment as evil and then set the race. So we need to be able to test it in both directions, right? So I can set the alignment once the race is established, but I can also set the race once the alignment is established. So I got to test it in both directions. So let's do that. We'll do it very similar to what we did here. We'll say when hero is good. When hero is good, all of these are true. And that's going to be true for neutral as well. So when hero is neutral, it could be all those races. When hero is evil, evil, that'll generate an error because halflings cannot be evil. If we take halfling out, you can say we could do the same thing we did over here. It cannot be a paladin. Halfling. Halfling. Just copy that little bit there. Make them a halfling. That's not the error that will be thrown. That's fine. Just validate that, yeah. Halflings cannot be evil. They're just too damned good-natured. Okay. Cool. Now, the fun part will be remembering where I was at come tomorrow. Come next week. So I'm going to... I think I need to add a failing test to remind me of that as well. Let me push what I have here first, though. Git add dot git commit dash m. In Elm, you will have to teach me Elm, Corey, but I'm totally down for it. Yay! Corey's gonna teach me Elm. Huzzah! Let's see. What all did I change? I should do a git status. Git commit dash m is halflings cannot be evil. No evil halflings. And then I want to write one last test that can fail so that I remember where I'm at when I come in next week. And so I'm gonna do a Constitution modifier for hit points for dwarves. And I'm just gonna cram it into the hit points test and say let's say it increases with double with this. I copied it for dwarves. And then I can say, can I just say expect true to be false? That'll fail. But that'll give me a little bookmark for when I come by next time. And I'm not going to commit that. So, cool. Well, we're almost up on the 9 o'clock. I'm going to wrap this stream up because when I'm done, I need to download it and edit it and get it up on YouTube and everything. So, thanks everyone for hanging out with me tonight. Let's take a look and see. Yeah. Well, it could be a truthy and falsy. This is JavaScript we're talking about, right? It is JavaScript. Sometimes you can make things true and false, so it would not make sense. So we got that. But let's figure out who we're going to raid. So I'm going to click the raid button over here on Stream Mangler. And Chad Green is streaming. Do we want to raid Chad? I think we want to raid Chad. We're going to raid Chad. Rating now. Thanks a lot, everyone. See you next time.